The next morning in Lagos was bright, with a soft golden sun climbing steadily over the skyline. The city buzzed as usual, but for Raphael and Roselline, it felt like a brand new beginning. They drove quietly through the gated roads of Ikoyi, where the streets were lined with manicured trees and luxury cars glided past like silent shadows. But as they approached the towering white gates of the mansion her father had transferred to her, Raphael slowed the car and blinked at the sheer size of the building before them. "Is this it?" he asked, a little unsure. Roselline smiled, nodding. "This is home." The mansion was massive, modern, and elegant, a mix of polished stone and glass, with wide balconies and delicate floral trimming. As the gates opened and they drove in, Raphael's breath caught in his throat. He stepped out of the car and turned slowly, taking it all in. The house stood like a silent cathedral of dreams, tall windows, marble steps, sleek black doors, and a glowing welcome fountain at the center of the drive. Inside, the air was cool and sweet, the scent of lavender wafting through the halls. Room after room welcomed them. High ceilings, soft lighting, and polished floors so clean they gleamed. A piano room sat on the east wing, its grand baby piano silent but majestic. The library was cozy, lined with wooden shelves and soft chairs, perfect for quiet afternoons. Upstairs, the hallways seemed to stretch endlessly. "This house is too big," Raphael said softly, overwhelmed. "How will we fill all this space?" "With love," Roselline replied, holding his hand tightly. "Every corner of it." They stopped in front of a wide double-door room at the far end of the corridor. "This is our room," Roselline said with a soft smile. Then she turned to the next door, just beside theirs, a slightly smaller, yet still luxurious guest suite. "And this," she continued, "will be for Sarah. I want her to stay with us after the wedding. Not just visit. Stay. Start again." Raphael blinked, touched. "Rosie, she needs peace, Raphael. She needs a new beginning, and she's your sister, which makes her my sister, too." He looked at her, and a deep, unspoken gratitude shimmered in his eyes. He kissed her hand without saying a word. As they made their way back down the stairs, Roselline led him to the garage wing, a large space with sleek floors and ambient lights glowing from the ceiling. She threw her hands wide and spun slowly. "And this," she said teasingly, "is where you'll be parking all your cars, Mr. Raphael." He laughed, turning in a slow circle, staring at the pristine space. "Me? Cars," he scoffed jokingly. "Now you'll have more than you need," she smiled. He pulled her into his arms, wrapping her tightly in a long, quiet hug. "I don't deserve this, Rosie. I don't deserve you." "You don't have to," she whispered into his chest. "You've earned it with every heartbeat, every sacrifice, every time you held me when the world rejected me." He closed his eyes, holding her tighter, the walls of the mansion now echoing not with money or legacy, but with something far more valuable, a love that built new meaning into every brick. After the tour of the mansion, Roselline wasted no time. That same afternoon, she picked up her phone and called one of the best luxury house cleaning and interior maintenance companies in Lagos. With crisp professionalism, she gave instructions. "I want the entire house deep cleaned. Floors, windows, drapes, every corner. Especially the kitchen and the guest rooms. We'll be moving in soon." "Yes, Ma," the team assured her. "Our staff will begin work first thing tomorrow." As she ended the call, she turned to Raphael, her eyes glowing with a quiet, eager excitement. "This is happening," she said softly. "Our life together is beginning." Later that evening, back at their small apartment, they sat side by side on the bed, the room now half filled with boxes waiting to be moved. Roselline turned to him suddenly, taking his hand and holding it firmly between hers. "Raphael," she said, voice trembling with emotion, "I can't wait anymore. I want to be your wife. Not in a month. Not next month. Let's fix the wedding. Soon." Raphael blinked, surprised, but then his eyes softened and he nodded. "How soon?" he asked gently. She smiled. "Next week. I don't want anything big or flashy. Just vows. Just love. Just you and me and your family." Raphael looked down at their intertwined fingers, his chest swelling with quiet joy. Are you sure? He asked. You deserve a big wedding, one that the world will never forget. She shook her head. My parents are gone. My old friends faded with the wealth. But what I have now, you, Sarah, your mother, Eric, Deborah, that's all I need. I want it simple. I want it sacred. I want it ours. Raphael reached out and pulled her gently into his arms. Next week it is, he said with a smile. He nodded slowly, the warmth of her love wrapping around his heart like a protective cloak. And so they began to plan, simply but meaningfully. Roselline will wear a white, flowing gown, elegant, modest, and timeless. Something that spoke of grace, not extravagance. A gown that whispered new beginnings and quiet strength. Raphael wore a fine blazer jacket, crisp white shirt beneath, dark trousers, sharp, handsome, and dignified, like the man he had become. Sarah would stand beside Roselline as her maid of honor, proud, supportive, and strong. A woman who had walked through her own valley of pain and now stood beside her future sister with a full heart. And Raphael made a special call that night to his old friend from the mechanic workshop when he was an apprentice, the one who had stood with him through a thick and thin back in the village. Come to Lagos, Raphael said, his voice low but joyful. I want you to be my best man. The friend was stunned at first, then thrilled. He promised to arrive 2 days before the wedding. No long guest list. No elite crowd. Just love. Real, honest, tested love. 2 days before the wedding, Roselline and Raphael stepped into one of the most luxurious boutiques in Victoria Island. A wide, golden-lit space filled with soft music, velvet armchairs, and mannequins dressed like royalty. Roselline's eyes sparkled as she turned in slow circles, admiring the dresses displayed along the wall. Today wasn't just about the gown. It was about preparing for the beginning of forever. They walked hand in hand to the boutique, stopping in front of a simple but stunning white bridal gown. Smooth silk, flowing layers, delicate lacework around the waist, and pearl embroidery along the neckline. This one, Roselline whispered. Raphael smiled. It's you? Graceful and beautiful. She laughed gently, holding his hand tighter. They moved on to men's section, and Raphael picked out a tailored blazer suit, navy blue with subtle pattern, paired with a crisp white shirt and brown shoes. He looked at himself in the mirror and chuckled. I've never worn anything this expensive in my life. Well, Roselline said, her eyes dancing, get used to it, Mr. Husband. They both laughed. Then she moved on to pick outfits for the family. A regal Ankara lace from Mama Sarah, fitted and wrapped with elegance. A fine agbada for Eric, rich with deep blue and wine patterns. Deborah and Sarah would wear a gold and coral blend, soft, flowing fabrics with simple beaded accents. She wanted them to feel special, included, honored. Give me a second, Raphael said, brushing a soft kiss on her forehead. I'll be right back. Restroom. Roselline nodded, still humming as she browsed through bridal shoes with a boutique assistant. Raphael walked through the quiet corridor toward the restroom, when suddenly, the air in the boutique shifted. The glass door at the entrance slid open. Anthony, he stepped into the boutique lobby like a shadow with a plan. Tall, sharp-suited, and dangerous. Raphael's heart froze for a second. Then it ignited, without hesitating. He turned sharply and stepped directly in Anthony's path, blocking him before he could get close to the main hall. Anthony stopped, eyebrows slightly raised. Well, well, he said with a smirk. The poor mechanic boy dresses well now. Raphael's jaw clenched, but his voice was calm, hard and controlled. You will not go near her. Anthony narrowed his eyes. Oh, now you grow courage? When she's not around to see you play the weak lover? Raphael stepped closer, his eyes locked in a steady, burning gaze. I have held my tongue because of her. I have swallowed your insults, let you follow us, let you run your mouth. But not anymore. We're getting married. In 2 days. She's mine, and I will protect her from anything, including you. Anthony's smirk darkened into a glare. You think you've won? You think a ring on her finger makes you safe? He sneered. I will send you out of this world, Raphael, away from her. You have no idea who I am. I'm not a man to be played with. I'm brutal. I destroy things I want, and I take them when I want. Raphael stared at him, his voice low but steady. "We are gamed, Anthony. The old me, the quiet me, he's gone. If you touch her or come near her again, I will expose you, not just to her, to the world. I'll show them the snake behind your suits and cars." There was silence. Two men, two worlds, one love between them. Anthony laughed once coldly and stepped back. "You're going to regret this." And with that, he walked away. Raphael stood there for a moment, gathering his breath. His hands were still trembling, not with fear, but with restraint. He walked back into the boutique, straightening his shirt, schooling his expression. Roselline looked up and smiled, holding a pair of shoes. "These are these." Raphael smiled back, his heart softening the moment he saw her. "These," he said gently, pointing. He didn't tell her about Anthony. He didn't want shadows on her joy. Not yet. The ride back home was quiet, but not in a lonely way. It was a kind of silence filled with satisfaction, daydreams, and joy too deep to speak. In the backseat of the car, the booth was packed full, overflowing with shopping bags from the boutique, each one holding pieces of their new life. White silk, navy blue suit, bridesmaid dresses, accessories, perfume, wedding shoes, embroidered wrappers. Everything they needed to begin again, beautifully. Roselline sat beside Raphael, her head resting lightly on his shoulder, her fingers tracing the shape of the ring that would soon grace her hand officially. When they arrived back at the apartment, the excitement hit them full force. A hired van sat just outside the compound, engine humming gently. The driver already waiting, ready to load everything they'd packed from their small flat. Boxes, luggage, personal treasures, all piled and ready by the doorway. Raphael stepped out first, then opened the door for Roselline, who smiled as she stepped down in her white slides, her long floral dress flowing in the breeze. Today wasn't just any day. It was a moving day. They began to carry things to the van, carefully placing the boutique bags on top, protecting the gowns and suits, folding blankets and tucking little notes between boxes. Neighbors peeked out from behind their windows, whispering and smiling. The young couple was finally stepping into something new, a mansion in Ikoyi, a life beyond what either of them could have imagined when they first met in the shadow of disapproval and doubt. They weren't just moving out, they were moving up, into light, into joy, into the luxurious life of the loved and chosen. And as the last box was loaded and the door shut with a soft click, Raphael reached for Roselline's hand and whispered, "Let's go start our forever." The following morning, the sun rose gently over Lagos, painting the sky with soft streaks of orange and gold. The city buzzed as always, but inside Raphael's heart, the only thing he could hear was anticipation. The van had arrived with all their belongings the night before, and today his family, the people who had stood with him when he had nothing, were coming to join them, to witness the wedding, to enter the new life with him. He pulled out of the driveway in the gleaming luxury car Roselline had gifted him, its engine purring like a lion in silk. He was alone in the front seat. Roselline had insisted on staying back at the mansion to help the decorators and caterers get things in order, and more importantly, to leave room in the car for the family he was about to bring home. As he pulled up to the motor park, heads turned immediately. The car, too sleek and foreign for the dusty roadside, drew eyes like a magnet. Then they saw Raphael step out, no longer in his old faded jeans and oil-stained shirt, but in a crisp polo and fitted trousers, clean-cut and calm. "Raph!" Sarah shouted, rushing forward. Before he could respond, she threw her arms around him, holding him tightly. "Raphael, I've missed you," she whispered. He smiled, hugging her back just as tightly. "I missed you more, Sarah," he said, his voice cracking slightly with emotion. They stood like that for a moment, just holding each other, the memory of hard days flashing silently between them. Mama Sarah stood back with moist eyes, leaning on Papa Raphael's arm. Even Deborah grinned with pride, her gold earrings swaying as she stepped forward with Eric. Baba Raphael patted his son on the shoulder, eyes glistening with something too proud to say aloud. "You did well," he said simply, and that was enough. As they loaded their modest bags into the car, bags far smaller than the ones Roselline had packed from boutiques and states, They chatted, laughed, and sang softly in the backseat. Eric took a quick selfie with the leather interior. Deborah peeked through the tinted windows, amazed at how quiet the world sounded from inside the luxury vehicle. As Raphael began to drive them toward Ikoyi, the tone inside the car shifted slightly. Joy remained, but with it came responsibility. He glanced at them through the rear-view mirror, then spoke firmly but kindly. "Listen, everyone," he said. "I need to talk to you before we get to the house." They leaned in slightly, sensing the shift in his tone. "I love you all, and I'm happy you're here. But this is a different world, a new life, and we must carry ourselves well, especially around Roselline." His voice lowered, more serious now. "She's smart, sharp, and sensitive. She listens beyond words. She reads moods. She picks up energy. So please, be mindful of what you say. No complaints. No careless comments. No suspicion should rise from her. I don't want her to feel any foul play, any tension, especially not from you, Sarah." He touched her cheeks. Sarah's smile faded slowly, and she sat upright. "Sarah, you need to be more patient. I'm doing all this for you. For us," Raphael says. Raphael turned slightly in his seat, locking eyes with her for a brief moment. "This is our opportunity, the one we prayed for, and we must not throw it away. Not by carelessness, not by mood swings, not by anything that would make her feel she has welcomed strangers with secrets." Sarah lowered her gaze, nodding slowly. "I understand, Ralph. I'll do better." Mama Sarah reached over and gently touched her daughter's knee. "We'll all do better." Raphael nodded with a slight smile, his heart still tense but hopeful. He turned his eyes back to the road, gripping the steering wheel. They were almost at the mansion, almost at a new beginning. The black gates of the mansion slid open slowly, revealing a palace the family had only imagined in dreams. Marble columns glowed under the gentle sun. Lush green lawns stretched on either side of the paved driveway, and a fountain danced at the center like something out of a movie. Inside the car, the family was stunned into silence. "Are we in Lagos or a foreign film?" Deborah whispered. Raphael smiled. "You're home." As the car rolled to stop, the doors opened, and there she was, Roselline, standing at the entrance in a flowing beige gown, barefoot and radiant. Her smile widened the moment she saw them. "Mama, Papa," she called joyfully, hurrying down the steps. Mama Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. "Is that—" "Yes," Raphael said, stepping out of the car. "She went to the village ahead of time. She said she wanted to meet you before the wedding, to do things properly." Roselline reached them and without hesitation hugged Mama Sarah tightly. "You look even more beautiful than when I saw you last," she said. Mama Sarah, overcome, held her close. "You came all the way to meet us?" "Yes, Ma. I had to. I'm part of your family now." She turned and greeted Bob and Raphael respectfully, then hugged Deborah and Eric like old friends. But when she reached Sarah, something special happened. They didn't say a word at first. They just hugged. And in that long embrace, years of fear, pride, and uncertainty melted away. "I'm so glad you're here," Roselline said softly. "So am I," Sarah replied, blinking back emotion. Raphael led them through the mansion like a proud tour guide. From a grand staircase with golden railings to the soft velvet couches, the dazzling chandeliers, and the massive kitchen stocked with fruits they'd only seen in magazines, everything sparkled. Eric ran from room to room like he'd entered a five-star resort, taking selfies and gasping at every corner. Deborah trailed her fingers along the polished marble walls, her jaw practically on the floor. "I don't think I can sleep here," she whispered. "This place is too fine." Roselline laughed. "You'll sleep like royalty. I made sure your rooms are near the garden. It's peaceful at night." As they toured the backyard pool area, Sarah pulled Raphael aside. "I was scared before that you will change too much, that I would lose you to this new world." He looked at her with quiet honesty. "I haven't changed. I've just been blessed." She nodded. "And you chose well for yourself. For us, Ralph." They both looked at Roselline, who was laughing with Eric near the pool. "Very well," Sarah added with a smile. And in that moment, all was well. The next morning, the sky over Ikoyi was crisp and blue, the kind of sky that seemed to bless everything beneath it. It was wedding day. Though there had been no months of planning, no bridal shower or elaborate committee, the beauty of the day bloomed effortlessly. It was as if love itself had arranged it all. The Ikoyi Marriage Registry glistened under the sunlight as a sleek black convoy arrived at the entrance. Roselline stepped out first, glowing in a dazzling white wedding gown. It hugged her gently at the waist and flowed out in soft ripples that brushed the earth with grace. A veil rested lightly over her braided hair, and her smile could quiet a storm. Raphael followed in a richly tailored blazer jacket, deep navy with subtle gold accents, his shoes polished to a mirror shine and his posture straight with pride. Today, he wasn't just a man. He was a husband. Mama Raphael stepped out in an expensive wine-colored lace outfit, with head tied so beautifully. Strangers paused to admire her. Her gold jewelry shimmered like the tears in her eyes. Deborah and Sarah were a sight, both in flowing gowns, one emerald green, the other royal blue. The sisters looked like princesses on a royal errand, laughter dancing between them. And then came Eric, sharp as a blade in a tailored black suit, his smile wide, his pride even wider. They looked like wealth, like joy, like royalty reborn from humble beginnings. Inside the registry hall, the marriage registrar smiled warmly as he looked at the couple before him. "You both understand that marriage is not a joke?" he asked, playfully serious. "Yes, sir," they replied in unison, eyes never leaving each other. Then Raphael placed the ring on her finger. Raphael's hands trembled slightly as he slid the ring onto Roselline's finger. And now Roselline do the same. She gently placed a golden band on his finger, her eyes misty but sure. "By the powers vested in me by the Federal Republic of Nigeria," the registrar announced, "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may seal it with a kiss." Laughter broke out as Raphael leaned in, and the kiss they shared was soft, sweet, and full of promise. The entire room clapped, even strangers watching from the lobby. The poor mechanic had married the girl from wealth, and they had done it with dignity. That evening, back at the mansion, the courtyard was transformed into a celebration ground. White tents, sparkling lights, soft high-life music in the background. The smell of jollof rice, grilled meat, and chilled wine filled the air. Roselline changed into a stunning traditional outfit, rich coral beads adorning her neck, while Raphael wore a white agbada, his confidence now wrapped in elegance. Mama Raphael led the toast, her voice shaking with joy. "God has done what man could not do," she said. "Let this home be a blessing." And with that, the celebration began, dancing, singing, clinking glasses, and endless food. For once, the entire family was full, not just in their bellies, but in their hearts. Then, quietly, Raphael stepped away from the crowd. He moved past the buffet line, through a path of hanging lights, and slipped behind a column near the poolside. His phone was already ringing. He answered in a low voice. "Hello. Release him now. He can't do anything again. The party is almost over. Make sure he has marks to remember. Next time, he won't cross my line again. Be smart about it. And don't ever mention my name. Okay, bye." He ended the call, slid the phone into his pocket, straightened his agbada, and returned to the crowd with a charming smile. He slipped back onto the dance floor beside Sarah, laughing, swaying to the beat, his arm casually brushing his sister's shoulder. To everyone else, Raphael looked like the perfect husband. But somewhere in the shadows, the bruise was forming, and a warning had just been delivered. The room was quiet, the soft hum of the air conditioning, the occasional rustle of leaves outside the window, and the slow, steady breathing of Raphael beside her. Everything whispered peace. Their wedding night had come and gone like a dream, full of light, dancing, and promises sealed with kisses. Now, wrapped in silk sheets and silence, Roselline lay staring at the ceiling, her fingers gently tracing the edge of the wedding band on her finger. Then ding, a message. She turned slowly, reaching for her phone on the nightstand. The screen glowed sharply in the dim room. A message, unknown number. She opened it. "Roselline, it's a pity. You were conned into a marriage built on deceit and lies. I warned you, over and over. I was meant to attend your wedding and reveal everything. But your disguised underworld husband sent men after me. They overcame my security team. I was kidnapped, beaten, tortured. I'm in a hospital now, barely able to walk. My leg is damaged beyond repair. He did this. Raphael did this to keep me from stopping you. Tell him I will rise again, and I will strike back. It's not too late for you to walk away. Don't be foolish. Attached is my lawyer's number. If you ever think you need help, you know what to do. Roselline sat frozen. Her eyes lingered on every word, her pulse quickening with every sentence. Slowly, she turned her head. There he was, Raphael, the man who just pledged his life to her, sleeping deeply, peacefully, like a man with no demons. But now her mind spun. Could he have done this? Was it true? Could the man she had just given her soul to have blood on his hands? She placed a trembling hand over her heart, and for the first time that day, she felt fear. Watch out for the next season. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe and like. Also drop your opinions at the comment section. You are valued,